Hello, and welcome to Change the Face of Yoga, teaching toddlers through golden oldies. I'm very excited to be talking to lots of yoga teachers who will explain their passion for teaching yoga to students with different ages, physical fitness levels, wellness levels, and different goals. They will explain the benefits of yoga for these students and will be including teacher tips and pose modifications. I am Stephanie Cunningham of Yoga Lightness, and I've been teaching over 50s for 10 years. So this area is my passion and the passion of many other yoga teachers that you will be listening to in this series. Thank you so much for listening, and let's get started. This is Changing the Face of Yoga, and this is episode 37. It's mid-December, and this will be the last original podcast for the next 6 weeks. I'm taking a little break, but I will be re-releasing some previous podcasts for the next 6 weeks, in case you might have missed them. Now, the theme for this particular podcast is not an interview, it's just me, and we will talk about gratitude. I'm extremely grateful to a wide variety of people because of the podcast. People who helped me get it started, people who agreed to be interviewed, and people who have listened, have all contributed to making this a small but successful podcast. And some of these people I'd like to thank in person. My first one is Laura Cooperman, who is my business coach, and she was the one that actually came up with the idea of a podcast. Don't know where she got it, but it just shows her sensitivity and her intelligence to figure out that is something that would be good for me. And it has been. My mastermind buddies, Jean Martin and Louisa Kane, were always supportive and positive and helpful with this new endeavor and kept assuring me that I could do it, which sometimes is very good to hear if you're wondering that yourself. So thank you, Louisa and Jean. My virtual assistant, Sarah Knight, did all of the jobs that I either couldn't or wouldn't do, mostly having to do with technology. And she figured out all of the technological issues around a podcast smoothly and almost effortlessly, it appeared. So I have to thank her with great gratitude for taking over that part of the podcast, which is not one of my superpowers. I don't do technology well. Now, those are the people that were kind of behind the scenes. But of course, there would be no podcast without all the people that agreed to be interviewed and talk about their particular expertise, their superpower, what they have done in the field of yoga to help others. We had people who talked about teaching children and veterans and athletes, seniors, people recovering from addiction, all kinds of people who might need a little extra help. And these teachers and yoga therapists stepped up and are providing a specific kind of help to meet those students' needs. Had people talking about some of the intricacies of teaching, about breathing and including everyone in your classes, and ahimsa, being nonviolent in your class. We've had a wide variety of people who have come forward to share their knowledge, to share their expertise. And all of them have been gracious, and what they had to say was interesting and helpful. And of course, there'd be no podcast without you listeners. I appreciate it so much that you started listening to the podcast, that you found worth in it, that you found it to be interesting and helpful to your journey in yoga. I would get comments that usually came along two different areas. One was connection, that people liked hearing from teachers that they may not ever be able to meet, and that the teachers were talking about their passion. If you are in an isolated, perhaps rural area where you rarely see other teachers, then it was a way to connect, and people appreciated that. The other stream of content, shall we say, is really the appreciation of the interviewees' knowledge and expertise and their willingness to share it, and in ways that made that they could actually use that kind of information in their classes or with their clients. So I've had some really lovely positive comments come through, and I really appreciate it. I am very, very grateful for the podcast. I really think this is what I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm meant to do, and we will continue next year. Finishing up December will be just some podcasts that have been released before, but you may have missed them. And it'll be just a way for you to explore some things that perhaps you haven't heard before, that you missed. And they're on my website, www.yogalightness.com.au, or on iTunes, and that's bit.ly/CTFOY, all in caps, or iHeartRadio, or on Stitcher. So you can download or just stream the podcast on either Apple or Android, on your phones or on your computer. So if you find something that you might like to try, I certainly welcome your interest. Now, as I said, I think that gratitude is the theme for this particular podcast. And as my way of showing my gratitude to all of the listeners and to the interviewees, if they choose, and to the people who helped me get this started, I'm going to do a gratitude meditation. A recent interviewee was Charlotte Nussel, and she talked about positive neuroplasticity. And the brain is always looking for threats and danger, which does make sense, but it tends not to pay much attention to or dwell on the positive things. And if you do feel grateful for the positive things in your life on a regular, consistent basis, this grows pathways in the brain that look for the positive. And by looking for the positive, it increases your resilience. So when things go bad, you also know that on the other hand, there are things that are good. So we're going to do a gratitude meditation with 3 parts. One, we'll start with the yoga nidra. We'll then do a bit of breathing and then focus in on gratitude. What I want you to do is find a comfortable place where you won't be bothered for a while. It will be quiet and a place to relax. Close your eyes. And when I say a part of the body, I want you to review that part of the body, consciously relax it, and if there's any discomfort or pain, send your thoughts or your energy or your breath to that area. So we're going to start with the top of the left foot. Left toes. left sole, left heel, left ankle, left shin, left calf, left knee, left thigh, left hamstring, left hip, left side of the waist, left ribs, left upper arm, left elbow, left forearm, left wrist, back of the left hand, left fingers, left palm, left thumb, top of the right foot, right toes, right sole, right heel, right ankle, right shin, right calf, right knee, right thigh, right hamstring, right hip, right side of the waist, right ribs, upper right arm, right elbow, right forearm, right wrist, back of the right hand, right fingers, right palm, right thumb, groin, abdomen, chest, buttocks, lower back, mid-back, upper back, shoulders, neck, throat, jaw, lips, tongue, cheeks, eyes, eyebrows, space between the eyebrows, forehead, scalp, head, torso, arms, legs. Now let's bring our attention to our breath. Watch how your body changes as you breathe in and breathe out. As the air comes in the nostrils, the diaphragm stretches, the chest expands, the sides of the chest move towards the arms, and the pressure increases where your back meets the chair or the bed, and the front of the chest rises. Notice the peacefulness of the hold in between. And as you start to exhale, you'll notice that the diaphragm releases, the chest contracts, the sides of the chest shrink away from the arms, and the pressure eases on your back. The front of the chest falls, and you can feel and hear the slightly warmed air coming out of the nostrils. Again, notice the peacefulness, the stillness of the pause between the exhalation and inhalation. If you still feel that you have some residual tension in your body, extending the exhalation will help release that tension. Just breathe. Now I want you to visualize a person or an entity or a thing or an activity or an event for which you are very grateful. And I want you to build this picture slowly in your mind by going over and over the picture, adding details each time through. And add those sensations that occurred with this particular person, place, or thing. So what could you see? What could you hear? What could you feel on your skin? And if applicable, what could you taste? What could you smell? So that you have a very complete picture that is very detailed. And you can feel that gratitude for having this entity in your life. I will give you some time to build this picture, and then we'll come back and finish the meditation. So now that you have that picture clearly in your mind, I want you to try to find the place in your body that relates to that gratitude. Where do you feel gratitude in your body for that particular picture that you've built? It's not easy, I know, and it may take a few times for you to really find it. But emotions, although we do have them in our mind, also are in the body. And so we try to have positive emotions in the body as well as negative ones. So just do a quick review and see if you can find a place where that gratitude is sitting in the body. Slowly come back. Maybe wiggle your feet and your hands. Slowly open your eyes. Be aware of what you can see and what you can feel on your skin, what you can hear. As you slowly come back from the meditation. Stretch up your hands overhead. Bring your palms together on an inhalation. And on the exhalation, bring your hands down to your heart center. And thank you for participating in the gratitude meditation. As I said before, this is the last original podcast for this year. And we'll have 6 weeks of re-releases of other podcasts that we did during the year. And we'll start fresh in February 2018. Again, thank you all for listening. And if you're interested in looking at any other podcast that may be available through Changing the Face of Yoga, they're all on my website at www.yogalightness.com.au. You can download from iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. And thank you so much for being part of Changing the Face of Yoga.